Good morning and welcome to SailGP's Scandinavian debut, the ROCKWOOL Denmark Sail Grand Prix here in the stunning city of Aarhus. We are approaching the halfway point of the season with our fourth event following spectacular showcases in Bermuda, in Taranto in Italy and Plymouth in the United Kingdom. I'm your host, David Garrido. I'm excited to be speaking to you live from the Aarhus International Sailing Centre, where they're still enjoying the celebrations after the success of hometown hero and Denmark SailGP team member Anne-Marie Rindom at the Tokyo Olympics. For those of you watching this who are new to SailGP, this is the most exciting race on water, featuring the sport's best athletes battling it out in identical F50 supercharged foiling catamarans. It is high tech, it is high speed, and certainly if the last few events are anything to go by, extremely high drama as well. We have had crashes, smashes, penalties, and black flags. We've even had a speed record broken in the last 24 hours. We will come on to that, don't you worry. But it's not just about the race on water, we're also racing for purpose and impact off it. Last month, we launched the SailGP Impact League, introducing a second podium for the season, meaning that we will see two champions crowned at the end of this 2021-22 campaign, one for sport and one for purpose. Currently, we have the Australia team leading the race on the water with Great Britain, and the New Zealand team winning the race for the future in the Impact League. And our race for the future is about racing for a better future and championing a world powered by nature with the goal of accelerating the transition to clean energy. And what better city and country to bring this to life in than Aarhus in Denmark. So let's get started, and as ever, our press conference will take place in two halves. We have a star-studded lineup for you today. Our first quartet of drivers are the local favourite and round-the-world ocean racer Nikolaj Sersted from the Denmark SailGP team presented by ROCKWOOL. Welcome, Nikolaj. Current season leader, reigning SailGP champion and 2012 Olympic gold medalist Tom Slingsby from Australia. Welcome to you as well. Three-time Olympic medalist, one of those fresh from Tokyo, Peter Burling of New Zealand. Hi there, Peter. And finally, the most decorated Olympic sailor of all time, Sir Ben Ainslie, driver of the Great Britain SailGP team. Welcome one and all. Nikolaj, if I could start off with you. It's finally here. It's a moment I'm sure that you've been dreaming of. I'm sure that this date has been circled in your diary, in your calendar for some time. Just give us a sense, if you can, of your excitement to bring SailGP to your home country, to finally have an opportunity to race in front of a home crowd.
Always super excited. I mean, it's something we always wanted to do, and it's a dream come true for us to finally have it here on home waters. And I think we saw yesterday that it's also not just going to be about the city, and it's also going to be really good sailing with good breeze and spectacular racing. So I think it's something everyone can look forward to, and we're really excited to put on a good show for all the fans and
Nikolaj, I'm going to get my claws out early in this press conference, I'm afraid. Is there pressure, though? Because, I hate to mention this again, but still you haven't made a podium race so far this season. That has to change this weekend, doesn't it?
I think there's always pressure. You know, we always got to deliver, and it doesn't change if we're home or if we're away. We always got to get a good result, and yeah, for sure we are going to work hard to get that podium finish, and yeah, the pressure is the same as always, and that's part of it. I think everyone feels the pressure. You always got to perform in this sport, and especially here.
Now, you are the home team in home waters. How did practice go yesterday? Do you want to tell us about some of the challenges you had?
We didn't actually get to practice yesterday. We had some boat issues, so we ended up sitting for 2 hours in the mooring, unfortunately. But I think it went pretty well for the other teams. I saw GPR breaking the speed record, so that was pretty exciting. But we didn't actually get to sail, unfortunately, yesterday.
But in your mind, is this a case of maybe bad first day, better rehearsal, best race?
Yeah, why don't we agree on that? I think that's a good way of putting it. I think the boat should be ready to sail today, so we hopefully get a good race day today, training day. And then, as long as the boat is working for the race days, that's the most important to us. That's where it all matters and counts. But we hope to get a good day today for sure.
Okay, I'm glad that we're agreed. Let's keep that positive vibe going. You've also welcomed back your golden girl, Anne-Marie Rindom, after winning the women's laser radial competition out in Tokyo. And when you add her and her knowledge of these waters, and you've got another Olympic gold medalist from years gone by, Martin Kirketerp, is that a winning combination? How much of a factor do you think that's going to be?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone on the team is really important, and Marie is adding a lot of value of the waters out here and the knowledge of her training here every day. So it's definitely something that we can use, and we are going to take full advantage of her knowledge and skill out here. And yeah, it's going to be a good week for us, that's for sure.
And we know that there is a female pathway being built in SailGP for future and the years to come. Admittedly, Anne-Marie has only had a few hours sailing on this boat so far this season, partly because of her Olympic commitments as well. But she's clearly a great talent. So look into your crystal ball for me, Nikolai. Will she be driving the Denmark SailGP boat in the future?
Both Anne-Marie and Katja, we also have, is really talented and really good sailors, and they are putting in a lot of hard work, but they're also humble. They also do know that going from a dinghy to an F50 is almost like a new sport, so it takes time and it takes patience, and they have that, and they are putting in the work and you know, put in the hours. There's no shortcut to it, but for sure, the way they're performing and the good sailors they are, they will have a really good chance, and I'm sure they'll get the grasp of this F50 quite quickly, so have high confidence in them both.
That's good to hear. Just a couple more questions to you, and on a particular theme, and I referenced sustainability and the Impact League earlier. We're here in one of the most climate-friendly countries, according to the United Nations. This will be the first event in the global SailGP calendar to be 100% powered by nature across all of the onshore operations. How important is that? How significant is that as a milestone?
You know, as Danish people, we're very proud of having a reputation of being, climate friendly and very innovative, and so it's something that's really important to us, and I think hopefully we can inspire SailGP to take this to other cities around the world to be 100% powered by nature, and it's something that we work closely with ROCKWOOL to push the sustainability, and we're also doing everything we can every day to first of all make an impact, but also share our knowledge on the social media platforms and inspire others to join the movement, and that's something that we work hard with ROCKWOOL to achieve.
Fantastic. Nikolai, thank you very much indeed. Tom, let me come on to you. Admittedly, it's been a bit of an up and down season so far, but do you sense you're starting to find your rhythm? That win in Plymouth, are you back to your best form?
Yeah, fortunately for us, we had a great event last event, but yeah, it has been up and down so far. We've had a second, a last, and a first, so we're not exactly consistent. But yeah, look, we've finished the last event on a high. We're getting back some of our really good talent with Jason Waterhouse and Kinley Fowler for this event, who have been away at Olympics and other things. So we're excited. We're moving in the right direction, but plenty of events to go. But we're at the right end so far.
Just help me recall this correctly. Do I remember you saying in Plymouth that light winds weren't going to suit you much? So that feels like a little bit of gamesmanship and reverse psychology to me. What's the message this time, Tom? And quite simply, should we believe you?
You can take what you want out of what I say. Sometimes I might not be telling all the truth, but in general, light airs are a weakness of ours. And this is the truth, I was very shocked with our result in Plymouth, the UK. We had a lot of replacements, people who were filling in last minute, and the result was a bit of a shock to us all. We'll take it. We're very excited about that. Stronger winds, we usually do feel a bit more comfortable, but after heading out on the practice course yesterday, we didn't feel too comfortable, and it was very windy yesterday, so we've now got to adapt from our light air sailing prowess back to our comfort in the heavy air, which is, it's going to be tough.
What about, you talk about sort of last minute changes and things. We've had some changes on the top table with this press conference. So what about the return of Peter Burling and Sir Ben Ainslie alongside you? I mean, with all due respect, and I mean this sincerely to Arno Saraphagas and Paul Goodison, the babysitters are gone now and the big dogs are back. So does that really focus your mind? Because these are proper rivals. These are champions alongside you. And remember, Tom, it's your title that you're defending.
Yeah, it is great to have these guys back. They are the big dogs of the sailing world. These two probably the most known sailors in the world right now, and yeah, they're probably competing for the best sailor of all time. Well, definitely Pete in the future will be after Ben's title, I'd say. So, look, yeah, having these guys on the racetrack, you just know that you have to be 100%. You know that there's not going to be any breaks given to you. You know that they're aggressive on the start line. They're not going to be pushed around, and so that's a good thing. For me and for our team, we just want to compete against the very best, and hopefully we can compete at 100% and sail our best. They can compete at their best, and we see who the better team is, and that's exciting for me. I love the challenge of that, and the better the sailors, the more we enjoy it.
And it's such a tight competition because the teams at the top, yourself and Sir Ben's team, have 22 points. The teams at the bottom have 17 points. So does that give you a sense of how open this competition is? And, you know, as we approach the halfway point, how important is it for you to get some consistency now, Tom?
Yes, we do need consistency. If one team is able to have top 3 or top 4 events the way through this season, they're going to make that final $1 million race. We can't keep having first and last. We won't be able to keep the consistency won't be there to make the final race. So we're working on that. We're starting to get, unfortunately the COVID situation's been pretty tough for us Australians getting in and out of the country, and we've lost a lot of crew. We still don't have our original lineup for this event. But by next event, we should be back to full strength, and we should have our full team on the start line, and then hopefully we can start building that momentum and consistency that we want moving forward. Later in the season, we need to come good for that final event. So it's important for us, and we think we're heading in the right direction.
It's not just the overall leaderboard that you've moved up on after Plymouth, but also the Impact League leaderboard. You sit third behind the 2 teams that are to your immediate left. Tell us about your relationship with Parley for the Oceans, Tom. It was announced last month. How is that helping the team in its efforts, in its impact, and how is that important to you?
Yeah, we're very excited to partner with Parley for the Oceans, and already we're doing some great things. Already our Impact League result has improved. They've come on and had some great ideas and helped us be a bit more innovative, and great ideas how we can improve our footprint. And we're opening ocean schools. We've got an ocean school opening here. They're working with us to really create use our voice to the next generation, and how we can really create a pathway for these guys to improve their impact in the future. So Parley's great for us. We're finding the relationship is going really well after one event, and for sure I think we're going to move up the impact leaderboard with their help.
You're moving in the right direction. Thank you, Tom. Pete, welcome back. And huge congratulations to you and to Blair Chuka, another Olympic silver medal in the 49er class in Tokyo. It's been quite a year for you so far. Just tell us how do you manage the transition then back to SailGP?
Yeah, it's definitely been on the busier side this year, and I think for everyone, COVID's really thrown a bit of a spanner in the calendar this year, and for everyone that's competing in the Olympics, that meant a year delay, which made things a little bit interesting, but I think the rest of the team, our interns that we brought in, did an amazing job getting the boat around the track in really good shape in the last couple of events, and our team's just been growing, so we're looking forward to getting back on the start line this week and giving it our best shot.
As we've mentioned, it's such a strong competitive field in SailGP this season, but for you personally, how much of a disadvantage could it be? You've only competed in one of the 3 races so far.
Yeah, well, in the first event actually that started in the second day of sailing our boat as well, so that event we were very much in a commissioning stage of a boat, and the boat's been getting better and better as time's gone on, but I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head. We're very much still in a learning phase for 4 of the people on the boat. It's our first or second event, so we're very much in trying to learn and improve as quickly as we can, and I think Tom mentioned it before, the exciting thing with SailGP is you've just got to make that final 3 in the last event to have the shot at winning it. So that's what our aim is.
Well, I guess the good news is that it's a tight championship. The bad news is you're bottom of it at the moment on the water. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this for you, but let's talk about that. What's the strategy here? How do you turn things around? What do you work on, both when you're at a race and in between times? Because you all have lots of data, for example, that you have at your disposal. So how do you turn this around?
Yeah, well, I think it's never short from things to work on in these boats, and I think obviously, like you said, the data, no one can really hide, no one can really do anything different. So it's pretty easy to go back and review what people were doing at specific events at specific times. So for us, we've definitely been doing that. We've been learning a lot, but I think for us, it's a lot about time on the water and just really maximising those opportunities we get to train as a group and get comfortable on the boat. And I think over the last couple of days, we've got a lot more comfortable than we were, especially in the upper wind strength that you'll see today. But I think we're going to see a completely different breeze by Sunday, so it's going to be a bit of just seeing how we go and trying to improve the little details as we go.
Impact League question for you as well, Peter, because obviously you are top of that particular championship by a relatively healthy 40 points. Reveal some trade secrets for us. How have you done it? How much do you value the competition?
Yeah, well, I think right from the outset when we were talking to Russell, we really wanted our passion for the oceans to be driven through this team, and for us as a team that means live ocean being in the DNA of the team. Blair and myself have probably led it, and then the rest of the team have really joined that passion for what we're trying to do as well. And we're really trying to utilise our voice for something slightly bigger than the standard sport of essences, and really educate people why they should care about what our playing field is out there.
Fantastic. Welcome back and go well this weekend. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
So Ben Aisley, lovely to see you again. Welcome back to you too, but obviously for slightly different reasons. You weren't competing out in Tokyo, but you have a new addition to your family. Fox Ainsley, born just over a month ago. How's he doing, and genuinely, how much sleep have you had?
He's doing fine. Thanks for asking. And I've had a bit more sleep coming over here to Denmark in the last few days than I have in the last 6 weeks. Yeah.
Being up at all hours, and I guess you were over in the States, the time difference too. Were you able to catch the Tokyo Olympics? How did you keep across that, and what did you make of Team GB's efforts?
I did. Fascinating to watch it as a spectator, and all of the sports, and of course focusing on the sailing. And great to see a lot of the sailors here in SailGP performing so well. And obviously you mentioned Pete and Blair and Anne-Marie with the gold medal for Denmark. Great to see the Danish history of Olympic sailing going so strong. And also for our British team being a top nation. Very proud to see that. So yeah, loved watching it.
Yeah, another impressive Olympics overall, in fact, 65 medals, 22 of them gold. It's Great Britain's best overseas games after Rio. But you're back with SailGP, and what better way to announce your return than breaking the SailGP speed record yesterday? You recorded speeds of 53 knots, 98.26 kilometres an hour. What sort of race are we therefore in, or races are we in for tomorrow and Saturday?
Yeah, I think if it's like that, it's going to be a blast. Expect to see someone get into triple figures at some point, break the 100-kilometre-an-hour barrier, which is really quite phenomenal for any boat, let alone a sailing boat. So we're privileged to be in this arena, really, where we can sail these boats and push them as hard as we are. We've got some good breeze out there today, so expect more action and then into racing. Friday and Saturday, maybe the breeze is forecast to come down a little bit, so the speeds might not be up there, but the action certainly will be full on.
I was chatting to Dee Kafari on the train from Copenhagen yesterday about how best can we describe what this sport is for someone who isn't into sailing. And Dee came up with the analogy, it's like going at 100 miles an hour in a convertible when it's raining and you're playing Call of Duty at the same time. What do you make of that?
That's not a bad description of what we're up to. And we're doing it, 5 of us on the boat. So that's the
with
the
your
key.
mates. Yeah.
The teamwork's the key to this sport. Absolutely, every person on the boat's got to do their job perfectly for it to work.
You are, as we mentioned before, the most decorated sailor of all time, and every time that you're on the water, Ben, it comes with expectation. I mean, let's put it this way: you're the Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, depending on which way you sit on that debate, of your sport. You're the GOAT, the greatest of all time. How heavy does that tag weigh on you?
Well, if you say so, but. We've got so many great sailors in this league. That's what's so, brilliant about the competition is every boat's just absolutely ram-packed with huge talent, and you know that you're racing against the best in the sport, and that's, as competitors, that's all you can ask for, really. That's what we love about competition, about sport, and this style of racing. It's very, very tight, obviously, with the short courses and the speeds the boats are going. You never really know who's going to come out on top. So every race, every competition, and then getting through to the final in San Francisco, it's just going to come down to the wire, and that's what sport's about.
But you come here defending a 100% record, don't you? Because in the 2 races you've been involved in, you've won them both, and I guess not just that, but you have the experience of a career doing this. That said, you're in Aarhus, which is a new venue for you. So how much of a factor is that? How much hope will that give your rivals? You're having to adapt to a completely new scenario.
Well, I think we are, certainly we're down on training time compared with a lot of the other teams. And then I've missed the last 2 events. So I would say we're up against it big time, this event. We've got to kind of regroup, really. Paul Goodison came in and, as you mentioned, did a fantastic job for the team to keep us up the top end of the leaderboard. But now we've got to regroup. We've got 3 events back-to-back pretty much, and they're going to be pretty critical, I think, in terms of setting the scene going into the final half or final third of the league. So a lot's changing, and for our team, like I said, we've got to have a good old regroup, get back into the rhythm of the thing, and get some solid results.
I don't want to be accused of any British bias here, so that's the chink in the armour, and I'm going to open it up. Glance back across your rivals here on this table. Who's the biggest threat this weekend, Ben?
Good question. Well, probably Tom. Tom's on form out of Plymouth, and he does a good job of playing himself down. But he's obviously, having been the reigning champion in SailGP, got a great team around him, and obviously a huge talent. But any of these teams, I think now having more time in the boats, if we can see it already, any of them can win races, any of them can win events. It's just getting tighter and tighter.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, Ben. I appreciate your thoughts. Welcome back, and go well this weekend. Great discussion to kick things off. Let's just pause there, take the opportunity to ask a few of the questions we've received from our global media online and any media in the room. So if we can go to the media in the room first of all, if you'd like to put your hand up and tell me where you're from before asking your question. Thank you very much indeed. This lady here to my right.
Hi, this is Tati from Germany. This is for the German press agency and the yacht. Can you quickly let me know who you think is going to win the event, each of you?
That's a difficult question. I don't know. I think anyone can win the event, so it would be hard to pick if I pick a name, I'm only going to get it wrong. That's, I think, how to say it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Look, Ben's done 2 events and he's won both of them in SailGP. So on paper, he's probably the favourite. But yeah, as Nikolai said, anyone can win, and if you have to pick it, it's going to be tough.
Do I have to say the same thing as well, do I? Yeah, hopefully we have a better understanding after today. I don't know, I haven't done the last 2 events, so pretty hard to tell who's on form.
I'm just going to lob it back to Tom.
Thank you very much indeed. You don't normally get this kind of level of collaboration between rivals, especially ones from England and Australia. I wonder what's going to be like on the water, though. Okay, any more questions from the floor? Just looking around. We have some from our online community as well, so I will go to those. Question to Sir Ben Ainsley from Rob Cother from Seahorse magazine. You got the top speed with the small 18-metre wing package. What do you feel the top wind speed will be for safe racing compared to that had with the 24-metre wing?
Yeah, it's a fair point. These 18-metre wings are supposed to increase the maximum wind strength we can sail the boats. I think perhaps by a couple of knots, so maybe 25 knots, I think, 26 knots. We haven't pushed them over that yet. Yesterday, I think, was the windiest we've sailed the boat in with the 18-metre wing, which is pushing on 26, 27 knots in the gusts.
And
that's probably the limit.
From Rob wants to get to Peter, with SailGP events so close together now, with this and this event, Saint-Tropez, and then Cadiz coming up fast, do you think there will be a more conservative approach to the racing to preserve the boats?
Yeah, I think no would be the short answer. Yeah, I think obviously everyone's trying to keep the boats apart, and that's a massive priority. But everyone will be also trying to push as hard as they can to do as well as they can in these events. And I think this part of the calendar is really exciting with these events being so close together, and it'll be a real chance to try and build momentum.
And actually, I'll just follow up finally with Nikolai and Tom, just to round things off. I mean, we've seen already in just the 3 races we've had a collision out in Bermuda, we had a black flag in Plymouth. Is drama almost guaranteed here in Aarhus? What do you think? Nikolai first.
Oh, absolutely. I think you don't put 8 boats, 8 foiling catamarans doing 100 kilometers an hour close together on a short course without having drama. So yeah, even if it's light winds, you'll have some sort of drama. Phil will always make sure of that. So yeah, I guarantee drama, that's for sure.
We'll get Phil Robertson's thoughts on that in the second half of the press conference. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, look, all the skippers here and the teams here didn't get here by backing off. I think the Ayrton Senna comment, if you're no longer pushing a gap, you're no longer a racing driver, and it's kind of the same sort of analogy for us. The guys here, if they see a gap, they're going to go for it, and that's why they're the best in the world. So, for me, if I see an opportunity, I'm going to try to take it, and that's what gave me my position, being a skipper up here. So I'm going to continue to do that, and I think every skipper here will, because we know that if we don't do that, there's someone wanting our job lining up. So we'll keep pushing it.
Fantastic. Thank you all. Good luck this weekend. Before we welcome our second quarter of drivers, we'll take a quick break to reset. We're back in a few minutes' time. But thank you to Nikolai Sested, Tom Stangsby, also Peter Burling and Ben Ainsley. Welcome back, everyone. We're back underway as we continue our look ahead to the ROCKWOOL Denmark Sail Grand Prix. As you can see, now we have on stage Olympic gold and silver medalist Nathan Outridge from the Japan SailGP team, America's Cup winner Jimmy Spittle from the USA, two-time world match racing champion Phil Robertson from the Spain SailGP team, and finally Olympian and four-time world champion Billy Besson from France. Welcome one and all. It's great to see you again. Nathan, if I can come to you first, please. And on a general point, it was a fantastic performance from Japan at their home Olympics over the last month or so. They're third in the medal table, 58 medals in all, 27 of them gold. What about the ripple effect from the Olympic Games? How important is it to the Japan SailGP team to keep that momentum going and try and inspire the next generation of athletes into the sport?
Yeah, well, firstly for us, it's awesome to have Leo and Senna back in the team. You know, they competed in the Olympics, first Olympics for Leo. You know, he had a good event, and he's been back here on the water with us yesterday, and just to have him back in the team is awesome. He's a big team member for us, and you know, I think when it comes to, you know, creating the next generation of sailors, you know, our goal with the Japan SailGP team is to find that talent out of the Japanese Olympic team and give them opportunities to come and sail with us. So that's starting back in Japan now with the Foiling Academy, getting them in the WASP program, which is really similar to the Inspire program, and offering them another avenue of sailing. You know, most Olympic sailors are sailing their Olympic classes. There's not a whole lot of foiling happening there, so we're trying to get them into the WASP, you know, move them through the different foiling classes and bring them to SailGP events. And for us, the best thing we can do is get an event in Japan and get, you know, the sailors there to come and see what it's like. So hopefully we can continue that momentum.
It's a pathway for them and essentially talent search for you, so it kind of works both ways, I guess.
Yeah, it is a bit hand in hand. We started it back in 2019, held a foiling camp there. We brought in 10 of the top Japanese sailing sailors, sort of in the under 25 category, from all different classes, got them in the WASP. We did a little bit of sailing in a GC32. We would love to get the F50 there and take them for a ride on that. Yesterday, we took Senna for a sail, our female athlete. She was in the FX in Tokyo. And within about 2 minutes, we did 50 knots in a bearaway. And I turned around and asked her what she thought, and she said, I'm completely speechless. That was unbelievable, these boats. And then we did a few more times and had a few crashes yesterday. And I think she was just blown away by the boat and the logistics involved in SailGP. And I think that's our job as sailors, as much as it is on the water to race, is to give young up-and-coming sailors a chance to understand what these boats are like and how amazing it is to race an F50.
And that's the feedback you want, isn't it, when you see her response like that? Let's talk about the recent events. You had success in Italy, of course, then struggled a bit in Plymouth despite victory in the 4th Fleet race. How confident are you, Nathan, that you can bounce back here in Denmark?
Yeah, it wasn't a great event for us at the last one, and interesting, it was similar conditions to what we had in Taranto, and you know, we've done a lot of analysis of what went wrong there, and it was mostly down to the starting. When those light breezes, it's all about starting, it's all about sailing clean. If you don't get around that first mark in a good position, it's hard to find your way through the fleet. You look out the window, it's very different conditions here. Today, tomorrow, this westerly breeze off the land, it's really shifty. And I think there's going to be opportunities around the race course. We're probably going to be on the smaller boards, the smaller wings, going quite fast. And again, starting is going to be critical, but I think there'll be some more opportunities around the course. And, you know, we just need to remember how to sail the boats at high speeds and how to race them and, you know, navigate the traffic, because I think there's going to be a lot of traffic out there. And, you know, what happens in the light wind is the fleet spreads out. You know, when it gets windy and shifty, I think the fleet's going to be pretty tight, and we're going to have some interesting moments.
Yeah, let's talk about that navigating the traffic element. It's a big talking point from the last race. Let me put it this way: the black flag, the Spain boat disqualified from the 3rd race. There has been a lot of focus on penalties. So, with that in mind, Nathan, do you look back at that Bermuda race and the crash with the USA boat any differently? Because if we're seeing serious penalties for close calls, should we see any more severe consequences for actual serious real damage here?
Yeah, no, they keep putting me next to Jimmy at these press conferences, trying to create a few more arguments, I think. I think we've had a good look at the rules, and, you know, rules sort of haven't changed, but how they enforce them, how they penalise them is increased. We saw that black flag that Phil got in Plymouth. You know, I think on reflection it was probably pretty harsh. You know, it didn't look super dangerous, but at the same point it was very clear from the umpires, if you are deliberately forcing a situation to bring boats together, you will, you know, cop the wrath of the umpires. I think looking at the incident with, you know, us and the US team, you know, it was clearly a mistake on our behalf. You know, the way the rules are written, if there's contact, penalty points come. And, you know, unfortunately for Jimmy, you know, he copped the penalty points as well. I think moving forward, I don't know if the umpires would make that same decision again, but these boats are expensive. Lives are important. When boats come together, we don't want people to get injured. So, you know, I heard Tom say before, you've got to race hard and go for the gaps, but at the same point, you've got to look after the people and the assets. So I think we're all pretty conscious. We want to race hard but keep the boats apart. And the rules are being enforced pretty hard, and you get penalty points if you do make any contact.
Yeah, it's a tough balance to strike, that, isn't it? It's the racing hard, but racing fair and keeping people safe at the same time. Jimmy, can I get your thoughts on that and what happened in the last race in Plymouth and the situation with Phil and the black flag?
Yeah, I haven't changed my opinion in that. I think if it was any other team, it would have been really harsh. But the fact of what happened in Bermuda, you know, where Phil was pretty aggressive and, you know, had a few moments like that, I wasn't surprised. You know, I mean, in F1 or MotoGP, after you get a few situations, eventually you cop a fine. So, yeah.
Let's talk about Plymouth for you, because despite that near collision with Spain, you completed a podium race for the first time this season. Now, is that a turning point for you? Do you think that you know that there's always a chance you'll get dragged into some drama, or do you feel that now you've got a little bit more of a steady period ahead of you?
Yeah, hopefully not. You know, we've had plenty of action, plenty of drama. You know, it seems like every competition there's something that's gone on, and even in the last event we had a rudder issue in the final race. But having said that, the last 2 events we've been in the podium race. So that's a good sign for the team. I think the level's rising throughout the fleet now. Everyone can win these events. And we've got a few guys that have come in now from the game. So I think this is going to be probably the most competitive event yet.
That's great to hear. Now, while some of your fellow athletes have been away collecting Olympic medals, Jimmy, you've been back to the States for your first foiling first camp. Tell us a bit about that. How was that for you? And do you get a sense that there genuinely is talent out there that can genuinely help create a diverse and inclusive sport?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, look, it's really just getting access to the boats, and I think sailing in a lot of ways is viewed as an elitist sport, and I can tell you the majority of the guys in this fleet haven't come from elitist backgrounds. So for us, it's really, we're looking at it two ways. One, I mean, you just look at the Olympics, and the US team struggled in sailing. So we know we want to try and be the catalyst to re-energise high-performance sailing in the US, and we want to use SailGP really to help drive that. But at the same time, we want to open it up. We'd like to see, it much more diverse. And so, yeah, we're making a big effort. We had a fantastic camp on the east coast of America. We've got a few more lined up, which we're pretty excited about. We've partnered up with a couple of really big organisations that do some great work throughout the US in mainstream sport. So we're excited, and it's great to sort of see that grow. But yeah, we want to see the US back at the top of the sailing ladder.
Yeah, and again, as we mentioned with Nathan, I mean, there's that sort of, good for both sides in this, because you're providing that pathway, but you directly benefit, not just in SailGP, but ultimately when you see the US and how they compete at the Olympics, for example. Let's talk about the boat, because for those eagle-eyed, the wing has been supersized. You've been out testing this week. So how's that gone, and when will we see this 29-metre wing actually debut in a race?
Yeah, I think in the future, I mean, look, we had a couple of days of testing the 29-metre wing, and I tell you, it is a big wing. It's very powerful. Unfortunately for us, we didn't get the conditions that it's designed for. We were sailing it in, 10 to 12 knots, and it's really designed for the bottom end of the conditions. But look, the good news is that we can take it over range, structurally, engineering-wise. The SailGP design team did a great job. It got through the couple of days sailing, and we just have to get it back out there now in the lighter conditions, which may happen after the event.
And you teamed up with one of Nathan's crew, with Chris Draper, for the testing. Genuine collaboration there? You put team rivalries aside for this purpose, at least?
Yeah, he thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, I've got to say, he was trying to jump camp, but look, Chris is a good guy. We've worked with him in the past, actually, in cup programs. And I mean, one of the cool things about SailGP is you are constantly developing the boat. The fact is, everyone gets the same gear. So when you do an upgrade to a system, or whether it's a wing, the entire fleet gets it. So you've all got collectively the same goal, to improve it. So in a lot of ways, that's something that's really quite rare, where you're actually working with your competitors to make the boats faster. And I think because of that, you actually get to a better solution than you get in any other program, because in every other program, it's like IP. You're sort of holding it and keeping it for yourself. But here, everyone gets it, so you've all got the same collective goal.
I know that you guys have been listening into the other half of the press conference. Nathan, you referenced what Tom had said about racing. Let's talk about rivalries. And we're back to full strength here in Denmark, because we've got Pete and also Sebenese back. So, we have all of the big names here. And we did reference Ben earlier, or I did, as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Question is, how do you unsettle the GOAT? How do you knock him off his mountain perch, if you will? What sort of tactics, what sort of ways can you do this? I see you're smiling at me, Nathan Outridge, so what's your answer to that?
I don't think we have to do a whole lot, to be honest. I think if we all just sail well and he doesn't get some good results, he gets pretty fired up pretty quickly. A couple of good mates on that boat with Goobs and Parko, they often cop the wrath if they're not having a good day. And interestingly, in Bermuda on that first day, they weren't sailing very well. I don't know, Jimmy, you got any ideas on how to unsettle Ben?
I actually wasn't listening to them before us when they were doing the press conference, but sounds like you're a big fan of his.
I have no bias whatsoever, Jimmy.
No, it'll be exciting for you for the weekend to watch. But yeah, look, honestly, you can't single out any one team. I truly believe that any team can have its moment and can win races, and I think personally it'd be foolish for any team just to sort of focus on one boat. I mean, yeah, you can do that in a match race, but at this level, especially with these offshore conditions, it'd be pretty dangerous.
So leave the GOAT to graze on his own somewhere else. Don't pay them attention. Okay. We'll take that one offline.
I know you will.
We'll see. Okay, let's move on. Thank you, Jimmy. To Phil, and we're going to reprise the topic of Plymouth, if that's okay. A few weeks on, what's your honest read on what happened out there? Was it a harsh umpiring call, like some of the other guys have said, or was it a misjudgment? How do you look at it now?
I think we've flogged that black flag to death now, and there might not be any more black flags left in the world. The amount we've talked about it, but look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and if us going out there trying to win starts is making us unpopular, then so be it. We're here to win races and win events, and we're going to keep pushing.
Is that something that you just sort of brush off when you come to a new race because of what happened? You might not necessarily be Mr. Popular in the locker room because of that, but you just kind of think, right, okay, well, doesn't matter. We're here to win.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've talked to you before about your position maybe being under threat, Phil. But does ruffling a few feathers like this make you put yourself out there and make you more noticeable, or does it make you fear even more for your position?
I look at SailGP and I look at every skipper here, all these on the table and on the table before, and I don't think anyone's position's safe here. Everyone's here fighting for a drive and fighting to be out there racing, and if someone gets comfortable, I think they're going to become very vulnerable and start losing races. So I don't think anyone's comfortable, and that's the way I've always looked at it from day one of my career, and I'm never going to relax. We're here to win. We're here to win races, and that's my attitude, and that's what I'm going to stick to. So whether there's someone trying to take my seat or not, it's the same day to day.
The thing is, the person who wants your seat directly in your boat is back with you. So what's the dynamic with Geordie? How does that work? Because ultimately, you both want to drive this boat, but you can't both drive this boat.
This team's been set up as a really young team. We're the youngest out there. The guys have had zero experience in the past on a boat like this. So my role is to teach them basically how to sail an F50 and then make them competitive. So I think we've done that process pretty well. We're at a stage where I think we're competitive now and we can be winning events, which I think is bloody impressive. And that's just credit to the talent that we've got in our team. And whether it's the guys at the front of the boat or the back of the boat, they're all good sailors and they all want to be on that boat and beating the guys next to me here.
Well, and also, when we talked about this with some of the other teams, notably New Zealand, also Denmark winning medals out in Japan, and you obviously saw that with Geordie and Joanne coming back. How much does that boost things, and does that readily convert to SailGP success?
Yeah, look, we're really proud as a team of the achievements of all our Olympians, and we've had Tara, Flo, Geordie, Joanne, and Diego there representing our team, and they all did incredibly well. So it's great for the team, but does that translate directly to F50 success? No, I don't think so. I think this boat is a completely different beast to any dinghy out there, and you've got a lot of learning to do on these things. So that's what we're doing first and foremost. But look, the experience they had is coming directly into our team as well. The energy they've got is fantastic, and they're pumped up, and they want to beat everyone out there and actually prove how good they are. So that's what we're here to do.
Thank you, Phil. Billy, let me move on to you. We saw a fantastic podium race in Plymouth. You narrowly missed out on the win. What learnings did you take from that?
What learning? Whoa. No, it's the SailGP is really hard races, and we need to learn every details. Is really important to win the event. So yes, we have a time between each event for reguiding the data and the movie and whatever you do wrong and what you want to do to learn for the next event. So it's good for that. And yes, at each event we need to learn that to win the event.
Well, you seem to be doing that. You were, I suppose, slightly sailing under the radar. Your second place was your best result of the season. You're now third overall. Does that mean that we're going to see you peaking in Saint-Tropez for your home race next month? It all seems to be heading in that direction. But
yeah, for sure. I think everybody here want to be win on the hometown. That's for sure, and I would like to do that for the team. I think it will be good. But it's with SailGP, you never know what's happened. Each day by each day and each race by each race. So, and sometimes under the race boy by boy. So now it's really really hard. So step by step, we need to go step by step to go on the high level.
And tell us about the challenge of this new venue, different conditions. We were hearing about it before from Nathan in the first half of the press conference as well. Different to Plymouth, different to Taranto before then. How do you adapt to these conditions? How much of a challenge is that in the short time that you have before you actually race for the first time?
Yeah, the last event we tried the small wing and the small foils was in Bermuda. So it's since like 3 months or 4 months ago. So it's really hard to remember what can you do. So that's why we saw a lot of video to Bermuda to what can we do and what setting you use and what it was best and what it was wrong. So is you imagine just and but when you saw like yesterday weather forecast and on the what you do on the boat, on the real boat, it was completely different. You know, the wind was really shift and gusty, and to stay stable on the boat is really hard.
And just to come back to Phil's point, I didn't want to single Phil out in terms of the vulnerability of the position. Is he right? Are you all sort of, to a certain point, you know, only as good as your last result, your last fleet race, your last event? And, you know, how delicate are your positions as skippers, as drivers of your boats? Phil, clearly under the microscope right now, but I'm guessing you all are.
Yeah, but I think it's exactly like you. Huh? If you said something wrong or maybe you're going to be fired.
I think
for sure.
Jimmy might be having a word with someone after this press conference, I dare say.
It's exactly like you.
But how do you deal with that? Are you cool with that?
Yeah, sure. But all my life, what can I do when I was young? It's exactly the same. We are a sportsman. We are judged by the result. So it's normal life for us. Maybe it's not for you.
No, you don't you worry about me. Thank you to you all, and genuinely to you all, good luck for this weekend. I wish you all the best. High speed, high tech, and as we can see from that session as well, a little bit of niggle, a little bit of edge in the room. Some of it directed towards me, but we'll take that offline. Let's take some questions from the virtual floor and any in the room. So if anyone would have a question for our 4 drivers, please put your hand up and I'll come to you. And the mic is on its way. Thank you.
Tatjana Pokorny for the German press agency. Are you doing research about reaction, speed of reaction of a helmsman? How many impressions you have to take in per second or something like that? Do you have any numbers? And do you train that? I don't know who can answer that. Maybe all of you.
I can start. No, we're not looking into any of that at the moment, but it does sound like a pretty good idea. I don't know, Jimmy, have you done any of that before?
We have in past sports and campaigns for sure. We've looked at that. And it's amazing actually when you really look at the amount of split-second decisions that not just the drivers but actually all the sailors on board have to make. And most of the time you actually can't really communicate. You know, guys have got to be able to make a decision themselves because it's typically too late to be able to, you know, say something for them to respond. So it is something that's important, but it's challenging too because the only way to get good at that is to race. You know, you can go out and train on your own, but it's the real competition with real pressure is the only way to get good at that. So, you know, we've all got that challenge.
Phil, Billy, would you like to offer any thoughts? Happy? Okay, we have run out of time in any case, so thank you very much indeed to Nathan, Jimmy, Phil and Billy. Cannot wait to see how this plays out on the water over the next couple of days, who will come out on top here in Aarhus at the ROCKWOOL Denmark Sail Grand Prix. Don't forget to tune in for the racing itself. The action kicks off at 3 p.m. local time on Friday, 1 p.m. on Saturday. It is live here in Denmark on TV2, but feel free to check out sailgp.com/watch to find out how you can catch the drama wherever you are. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
Yeah, now.